Hi, everyone, and welcome to the openinPHL podcast. I'm your host, Carl.
And I'm Danielle.
Since we now have 5 episodes done, we've made it to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Podbean. We thought it'd be a great idea to recap and touch base on what we have been up to. So we'll start asking Danielle, how was your week?
My week's been interesting. I'm between jobs right now. So I ended one job last Friday and I'm starting another one this Monday. So this week I've just been decompressing, which actually feels pretty nice.
Nice little week vacation before you start your next job.
Yeah, and I got to work on my own small business in the interim. So today I did a production run at the West Philly kitchen I work out of. I got to see some of the other people who work out of there, which is nice to have that social interaction. And I have some upcoming orders to fulfill, so that's pretty fun.
I think one aspect that you haven't brought up too much on the podcast is your specific business. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you do for your small business?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about it when we talked to Carlo and Carmela from V-Marks, the shop, but I make vegan protein balls and they have very minimal ingredients. I don't use added sugar or added oil or fake ingredients in it or any fillers like a lot of protein bars do, which aren't really good for you and your body doesn't recognize those things. So my products are made of dates, almonds, pea protein, and then whatever I flavor them with. So snickerdoodle is cinnamon. I have cacao nibs in the cookie dough one, and freeze dried raspberries in the almond butter and jelly flavor. so um, so yeah, I work out of a commercial kitchen. I take all of my equipment and my ingredients there when I do a production run, and I make them all by hand, and then I package them there, and then I bring them home and batch number them and uh, do my inventory stuff. So it's pretty meditative. I like doing the physical work and just kind of letting my mind wander. It's not attached to a screen for some of the work. Some of the stuff I have to do is run my Shopify and keep track of my QuickBooks, and obviously those require a screen, but it's nice to do the physical labor behind a business too.
And I should also mention that I'm the unofficial taste tester and social media guru.
Oh yeah, totally. I run all my memes by you before I post them, like the Jerry Seinfeld one.
Yes.
And you help me load my car, which is always very appreciated.
Oh, yes. I'm also on the back end of things, not just the screen end of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
that's
and
good you got back in.
yeah, you've taken photos for me before too.
I have. I was your, again, social media, not just guru, but social media person on the street.
Yeah. Yeah,
Giving it
very
a shot.
helpful. Sometimes you put stickers up.
I do. That's true. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't even think I said the name. My business is called Plants on Fire, which is like a silly name, but that's kind of the vibe that I want is like, working out is not just like bulging biceps and like booty gains and abs and bullshit like that. It's like working out and just doing physical activity is a way to keep your brain healthy, and it can be a form of creative expression too. So I just kind of wanted to break away from the fitness marketing and just have something silly but also really good for you too. So that was my week. That was pretty much today for me. This past week was fun because we went to your sister's house yesterday and played
Yeah.
with your niece.
My niece.
Yeah.
Yes. She's almost a year old, which is pretty crazy to be on the sidelines of. It's wild. Every time I see her, I notice something new. This past time, it was crawling.
Yeah. You know what I really like?
I don't know. What do you really like? Tell me more, Dumbledore.
Babies make you slow down. Like, in the adult world, we're always like, go, go, go. Even with the COVID shutdown, we're still working from home. We're still like enveloped in this, you know, East Coast working culture. But when you're with a baby just hanging out, you really have to like slow your mind down and focus and just appreciate every little thing that they do. And it's cool because everything that they're doing is new to them. Like the world is still so new. So it's cool to kind of identify with their point of view.
Yeah, it's definitely wild to see her learning how to walk with her little harness that she sports and just finds things fascinating, if not funny, at least in all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, babies. They're interesting.
Especially to grow up during this time now where almost every adult you see has a mask on, with the exception of your parents. I think it's going to be so interesting to see how she develops and either sees this all as a blur or keeps recalling how people had masks on whenever she's able to have a recollection of her memories.
Yeah, I wonder if the kids will be like the ones that are infants right now. I wonder how heavily they'll be impacted by this new normal.
I'm sure the kids will be all right. But
Nah, this week has been good though. Um, you've been listening to a new podcast run by a small business here.
I have. I noticed that South Fellini on Passyunk, next to the Pope, has started a podcast a little bit ago, I think in March, and they just dive into Philly history. So I took a bike ride yesterday and listened to the two-part episode talking about South Street, which was really something, just to hear the addresses of places that used to be there and their experiences being on South Street. And I learned that at one point they opened it up so that there was no parking on South Street for Friday and Saturday nights. Did you know that, Danielle?
No, I had no idea. What year was that?
I want to say it was in the 2000s.
I was still in Northeast PA.
Yeah.
That
But
that's
yeah, that
interesting.
would have changed, yeah, if you were around here in that time. But it was so interesting to hear that because now I feel as if more streets are aiming towards bike friendly and cutting out lanes of parking and to just have no parking and just cars moving. That's so interesting to see how far it's changed.
Yeah, that is really interesting and like really relevant right now because a lot of like portions of the streets are being blocked off for outdoor dining.
Right.
They
And
should bring
one,
that back.
yeah, and that can kind of tie into what I've noticed. I mean, we've been so Danielle and I go to the places that we talk about as episodes on the podcast. So, for example, I worked at Nocturnal. Amy from Ham and Bone, we know well. The indie shelf we stopped by, and one thing that I noticed got cut out while I was hanging out at Nocturnal this past week was that they got rid of bike racks from out front of Tattooed Moms to make room for their seating, and I thought that was so neat because they had this really well done painted area that was specifically for bikes, but then they gutted it and now they have tables there. So I think it's interesting how streets and other portions of the road have been sectioned off just to allow outdoor seating.
Yeah. I mean, as much as like I don't live in Fishtown anymore, but I'm still part of the Facebook group just observing the drama. And there are people getting really uppity about losing parking, which in Fishtown is pretty competitive, but where in Philly is it not? I think the people in Fishtown are just kind of used to being able to easily park because they're from places that they can't. I don't even really understand what the beef is there specifically, because in South Philly parking's even worse.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just being too yuppie.
It's hard to say, especially with a variety of commuters and people staying at home in every direction of Philadelphia. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to figure out a pulse on something like that, where there's going to be more parking and less parking.
Yeah,
But that's why you should just ride your bike and save yourself the trouble and save money.
yeah, and you get some exercise too.
Yeah,
Make sure
God,
you
God forbid.
make sure you eat a protein ball after that.
Yeah. Or you go to Philly style bagels, which
Oh
has been
yeah.
a destination of mine, I think, almost weekly. I did a
Mm-hmm.
quick test because I was in a pinch of time, and I called Philly Style Bagels to do pickup when I was biking past the casino,
You
so that when
called it
I
in?
oh yeah, well you have to
Oh.
call in everything and then you have to Venmo them.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot. John has the burner phone.
Yeah, it's awesome. It works pretty well from what I've gotten so far.
Mm.
So I would just call it in while I'm biking past the casino and then pick it up, and it's right there after I Venmo them.
Yeah. You've only been getting everything bagels, though. I have an issue with this because my favorite ones are blueberry.
I have been trying to change it up. I mean, recently they were out of everything, so I had to do a variety pack of onion, sesame, and
Mhm.
poppy seed.
Hmm.
But
That's
I don't
kind of
know if
like
they're
a
running blueberry too much lately.
that's like a breakdown of everything because it has everything seasoning has onion and poppy seeds in it.
Right. I don't think it does it have
Er,
salt on it though? The
Salt?
everything bagel? Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Okay. So I
It's
guess
the white salt.
that's the one ingredient I'm missing
Yeah.
probably.
I like to just add it at home.
Yeah. That's an option.
I don't know. I think I'm thinking back to when I would get Philly style more regularly, and I think it was only a Sunday thing that they would do blueberry.
Oh.
So maybe a Sunday destination. We should get coffee up at Reanimator and then go to Philly style and get bagels on Sunday.
That's an idea.
Hmm. I do miss, even though I, called people in Fishtown yuppie, I do miss most of the food up there.
Most of it.
Most of it. I mean, some of it, I could do without Joe's cheesesteak, but
Oh, that's a shame because that's the one thing I miss going past pretty frequently.
that's a lie.
When, when I walked out of Costa's, the first thing I want is right there at the corner.
I heard that they do a vegan one, but I think it's just so suspect because I don't know if they use different grills.
That could be something we ask if we ever chat with them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'll want to after I just said that, but
Well, we're trying to figure out these Philly mysteries, aren't we?
yeah, getting to the bottom of this,
Yeah.
doing our investigative journalism. I went to school for communication, so
So you have to mention it every time you're talking about something that has detail.
no. Wait, I haven't mentioned that before. I don't think.
I think you might have in one of the episodes.
Maybe. Oh, no, I mean, I think maybe I did when we were talking to John because we were talking about college for a little bit.
Yeah. Or
Um,
college. State college all day, bro.
I've never been there. I've never been to Penn State, never been to Happy Valley, is not interested in visiting, like,
I think we've missed our time.
never appealed. We're just not that type of people.
Yeah, when I was applying many moons ago in 1995 for college, uh, Penn State was one that my parents wanted, and then Westchester because it was safe.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, why else would you go to Westchester?
for the girls, and that was the reason my dad said I should go.
Hmm.
Like, it's like a
Interesting.
good education school, and they're there. But every time I went to Westchester, I would just get really abruptly told that the party was getting busted.
Um,
It was that kind of school, but it was kind of fun and intense. Just like, all right, we gotta go, we're out.
you should have gone to Arcadia where I went if you're looking for girls. It was mostly girls.
Mm,
I think it was like 70-30 girls. It was historically a women's school. It was Beaver College.
that was the original name.
Yeah, they changed the name because when the internet started becoming a thing and people searched Beaver College, it would like bring up porno. So they
Huh.
changed the name in like the early 2000s, and they picked a name that started with A so it would come to the top of like search results.
Here's a question I have about Arcadia,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where you went.
Yeah.
Do they have an arcade at Arcadia?
No.
They don't have any gaming setup, game room, pool tables,
Uh, well,
foosball.
okay, an arcade implies like electronic games, but I think they probably have like a pool table somewhere. Um,
Okay.
I don't know. It wasn't like a very fun campus, and half the people weren't there most of the time because everybody was studying abroad trying to get the fuck out. So,
Hmm.
which I did too, but I mean, that was the only reason I went to that school.
With the hopes of an arcade and traveling abroad.
No, nothing to do with gaming. That's not something I care about. I love traveling though.
What if they just had a big Sims emulator on a bunch of
Oh, okay,
computers
that's
there?
the only game that I care about is The Sims.
And they just have all of the Sim versions condensed into all of their school computers.
Sure. No, I mean like not to talk total shit on Arcadia because I did have some really cool professors there and who just really helped me unlearn a lot of stuff that I had I don't know, let me rephrase this. My my education at Arcadia, and I guess this would go for any college that I went to that was out of Northeast PA, really helped to improve my worldview and um, destroy a lot of myths that are pervasive in Northeast PA when it comes to society and culture. I know it sounds so vague, but I think if I think anybody from a rural area gets what I'm talking about when it comes to like your worldview and how going to college really helps you kind of escape your rural upbringing.
Yeah, college, the great escape.
It truly is for some of us. Take it out. Anyway, off the college tangent, back to the businesses that we've been interviewing. I went to VMarks the shop this past weekend because they ordered some of my product. And since I knew I was going to drop off their order, I placed a phone order to get some fun vegan food for the weekend. And I got those new nugs. They're like the simulate meat nugs, and they have this picture of a rooster on the front, like a real life rooster instead of just like a cartoony version. And this brand, I've seen them all over Instagram. I think they're so interesting. I really like the marketing because it's bold and very blunt, kind of like my marketing, my brand identity. And but I don't always like buying food off the internet, especially refrigerated food. I don't even know if I've ever bought refrigerated food off the internet. Um it just seems like a big hassle to me. So I was really excited that VMarks got these in stock. So I brought them home and you and I ate the whole box. What'd you think of them?
I was a fan. I don't remember the last time I had food like that before. I definitely think that the dips made it for
Mm-hmm.
me, in which case I had a plethora of dips going on this
Yeah.
one. I think I had
Uh,
Frank's Red Hot. I had
mm-hmm.
barbecue sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I also had this jalapeno dip too.
Oh yeah, the jalapeno sauce from Trader Joe's.
And then you made some concoction, right?
Yeah, I had hot, like sweet hot mustard and ketchup, and I mixed them together. We didn't have Vegenaise, though I would have mixed the Vegenaise with the ketchup
Yeah, I've got to get more.
just to just to mimic like the whole elementary school experience of cafeteria food. Um, I really like the nugs, and I really like the breading on them too. It was that perfect kind of mm, slightly seasoned with the black pepper. But I wish that they were a little bit thicker. Like I wish the meat part was thicker. They were kind of like thin for me, which is very similar to the elementary school cafeteria experience. But as an adult, I would like thicker nuggets. Maybe to the point of a chicken tender thickness, but just in a nugget form.
Okay, now we know.
That's my constructive criticism for nugs. But
Now we know. Were they local?
no, I think they're out of New York or something. Like they totally have venture capital behind them. They're definitely not like a small business. I mean, they're probably small in size, but they definitely have some funding behind them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We should also mention that we went to the indie shelf and
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed that for sure. I came up on a new toothbrush,
Mm-hmm.
a tongue scraper. Never had one, but caught my eye. Into
It
it.
looks very ornate.
What do you mean by that?
Like ornate, like it looks like something that is meant to be seen.
Yeah, it looks different. It's definitely one of the more obscure looking accessories that I have, but I'm pretty pleased with it. And I also got a candle that smells pretty great too.
Oh, yeah. That candle is amazing. It reminds me of my grandparents' old house in New York State because they had a wood stove. We'd always burn wood during the colder months, especially around Christmas time. But that candle is actually called Appalachia, like for the Appalachian Mountains. So it's a very like earthy, foresty smell, and it's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, and it's the Village Common, which I believe is local to
I don't
Philly.
know. Wait, let me Google it.
I feel as if that was mentioned.
They have ties to the Poconos, so
Oh,
that's why
boom.
I like it.
All right.
Um, they're
All right.
more.
Well, shout out Appalachia Village Common. Good looks on the candle with it. Would buy again.
Oh yes, and on that same indie shelf trip, I got a new cleanser, which I really like because it's very gentle and it's not heavily perfumed, and I'm dealing with maskne right now, so I'm trying to uh, get my skin back into shape because eventually we're gonna stop wearing masks, and then I don't want my face to be gross and scarred. So, anyway, new cleanser. I got a sample of a new moisturizer, which I really like, and a clay mask, and a gua sha tool, which is for basically massaging your face, but you kind of stroke your face away from your nose. You stroke kind of like toward your hairline, and then you use different parts of the tool for different parts of your face. So you use kind of these smaller points for your under eye, and then you use the larger part for your forehead and your cheeks. Also, on your trip to Philly Style Bagels, you stopped by Ham and Bone. You visited Amy and Charo and Luna.
I did. I had to tell Amy that the show was going to be late, and she was fine about that. She didn't sick Luna on me. So shout out Amy for that. It was pretty crazy too because when I walked in, our buddy Connor, who dates Amy, called Amy and gave the approval of the episode. It was so validating to get that nod
No.
that Apple Podcast works through Podbean. And that the episode sounded all right. So thank you for that, Connor. Hope you're listening to this. Yeah, but it was cool to see Churro and Luna. Churro's a sweetie. Wow.
He's so cute. Oh God, I love that dog. He's adorable. I love his little blue hair on top of his head.
Yeah. So I
Mm.
stopped by there. I felt as if I should have given her something, like thanks for doing the episode, but
Yeah.
I
We
needed those bagels. Sorry, Amy.
no.
I'll figure out a way to thank you.
We should do gifts for our guests moving forward. We should make something.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. It
It's in
would
the works.
yeah. We just have to figure out what would be useful because I don't want to give someone something that they're just going to be like thank you so much and put it on a shelf and not
With
be
all
able
the
to
other free
use.
merch that they get from brands in their store. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what would be most useful. Maybe a keychain.
Wow, that would be so exclusive. That would be pretty sick, though. That would be such. Actually, I don't know if I want more stuff on my keychain, my
Oh.
keys.
But it's like it it kind of lends itself to the title because keys open stuff. So you're
Oh,
opening PHL.
are you just coming across this, or have you had this thought
Yeah.
like that?
No, it just popped into my head.
Wow,
You heard it here first, folks. Keychains. Next
keychains.
week. Now I don't know how long the lead time on that would be.
Yeah, I don't know. I still want to do stickers. I think the stickers would be
Let's
an
do
easy
both.
one. Yeah, we'll start doing merch pretty soon.
But you know what we're gonna have to do if we wanna buy this merch? We have to sell ads. Something to note about Ham and Bone is that they're actually offering free grooming for people impacted by COVID, and you can nominate yourself. You don't have to, be very humble and nominate someone else. Like if you have a pet and you have been negatively impacted by the shutdown and they need grooming, then you can nominate yourself. You can go on their Instagram at Ham and Bone, or you can go on their website um, and fill out a Google form, and you can just see if you get chosen for free grooming. They have multiple spots.
So Danielle, let me get this straight. If I
Okay.
wanted to recommend my friend Joe, who has a dog named Alan, and not to say that this happened, but let's say that he got affected by COVID 19 and I wanted to hook him up, you're saying I could just fill out this Google form and he could be put in the running for that?
Yes.
All right, well, let's give another interpretation. Let's say that I have a dog called um, Eunuch with a
That's the
Q.
stupidest name. I'm so insulted that you would name a dog that we presumably both have that dumb name.
Eunuch?
Yeah, you know what names I have picked out for a dog.
I don't. But you're saying that if I had this dog, I could fill this out, assuming I was affected by COVID 19, and Ham and Bone can hook that up? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, potentially. If you're seriously impacted.
I mean, I've got the laptop, I've got the Wi Fi. I could fill this out, no problem.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, I might just do that.
So are you more comfortable with the idea of us getting a dog then?
No.
Oh. All right, I'll ask again in a few months.
Okay.
Well, I'm about done here for this week.
Okay. So let's do a quick summary. We've done 5 episodes. You can listen to them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and the YouTubes. See how many YouTubes you can watch, and you can watch them there. We've been listening to the South Fellini podcast. If you're a fan of them, go check them out on Passionk.
Yeah, they talk about the Hooters boat.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that one yet,
Me
but
neither.
I also listened to one about the 1986 sanitation strike, which is very
Oh.
fitting for what we're going through now.
Hell yeah, it's relevant.
And finally, we'll give a shout out to the 5 awesome places and people that have let us talk to them so far. Shout out Rob and Nate at Nocturnal. Shout out Amy at Ham and Bone. Shout out Sabine at the Indie Shelf. I can't wait to keep this candle going. Shout out John at Philly Style Bagels. Haven't seen you there yet, but we're also working through mass, so maybe I've interacted with you and you've given me my bagels, but you
No,
keep making them and I'll keep Venmoing you. It's all good.
John is there because John and I follow each other on Strava because we both run. And he just posted a short run yesterday that said like cream cheese delivery or something.
Wow.
So he's definitely been to the shop.
That's such a cool thing that we get to mention.
Yes.
That's really something. He just ran cream cheese to somebody, or he had to pick it up from his house, or what?
I don't know. There was no additional context. It was like cream cheese delivery or something. And it was a short run. Like yesterday.
I'm just curious who was on the receiving end of that and needed cream cheese so badly, and what kind of cream cheese they got, so we could plug it.
I mean, it might have just been the shop. I don't know.
I don't know. We might have to look at that route a little bit more closely.
I guess. Athletes of Strava.
Local business owner athletes of Strava.
Oh, yeah. That actually, you know what? I think you can start groups in Strava. We should just start
An openinPHL group on Strava.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
I think it would be actually no, Brandon runs.
He does, but I don't think he tracks it. I think he keeps his running a little bit more low key.
He's run a marathon before, but he doesn't track.
Yeah, this is also the same man that said that he runs because of the cheesesteaks and everything else he eats in his diet. He needs to balance it out with not just skating.
I can identify with that.
Yeah. So I think his running is a little bit more low key. But shout out Zoop if you're listening. Thanks for the connects.
Yeah.
And let us know. We're curious about this. Does Brandon track his runs or not? Let's conclude with VMarks.
Yeah, and shout out VMarks to Carlo and Carmela. They have a super entertaining IGTV portion, I guess you could say, of their Instagram. They're always talking about new products. That's how I learned that they got the nugs in. So they're really active on there. It's fun.
And so that concludes the first 5 episodes, first 5 businesses that we've talked to. We've recapped them. As we move forward, expect a new episode next week with a new business in Philadelphia that is local.
We have a great one lined up for next week. I'm really excited.
Of course, if you want to connect, you can find us on Instagram at openinPHL pod. If you have something you want to say to us, hit us up through the email at openinPHLpod@gmail.com.
Suggestions always welcome.
And if you're nice enough and you want to make our days, head to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review.
And subscribe.
Of course, but you're already subscribed, so just tell your friends to subscribe also. That'll help.
Somebody could be listening to this and not subscribed.
This is true, but let's just assume that they are.
Okay. But you know what they say about assuming. Keep your eyes peeled for next week's episode.
Keep your eyes peeled for what's coming down the pike with openinPHL Pod. Thanks for listening.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.